What's up, guys? So crazy day today, crazy past 2 days. Market took a huge correction, huge dip. Just things are just tanking. AMD finally took its big fall down. 15% is not small, but I was waiting on that. Remember, I said it was going to go bullish, and it did. Went up to about $59. But as I said in the past, AMD has the ability to cut downward like that, going from the top Bollinger Band all the way to the bottom Bollinger Band. And guess what? That's what it did on the 4 hour. But as we look at the technical analysis on the 1 year for the daily, it still has ways to go. We're going to see about $44. So the good strategy here would be to add on the way down. I think right now is a good time to add due to the 4 hour, which is I consider a very trusty time interval, and the daily, which is another very commonly looked at technical analysis, and it's got ways to go. So you add here, maybe in the middle, and then at the bottom if it does go there. And if it does, you go heavy. But I wouldn't go heavy. There's just a lot of things that could happen. Let's look at the 1 week. Now, the 1 week looks very different, and I love to look at the 1 week because the 1 week tells you so much. It tells you the long-term trend. It tells you what's going to happen. It told us what happened when it cut through here. We didn't know, but once it started riding the Bollinger Band, then people caught on. Okay? Now, people might not know that this is the beginning of a big downtrend, but if it cuts through these technicals, the mean of the Bollinger Band and the moving average, it can cut down to $30. And that's what I've been predicting. I mean, I went as low as $20 just for, kicks, but AMD really has the potential to rip downwards like that. AMD used to have one of the most short eyes on it, and basically I feel like they can come back. The shorts have made plenty of money on this stock and they love it. They're actually just licking their chops, waiting for the right entry. And $59 I think was the right entry for a lot of them, because if this weekly technical breaks through and doesn't hold, it's just going to fall. But it's really misleading when you look at the 4 hour and the 1 day. It screams buy. Look at that. But if things come to fruition and it turns out that it's going to go lower, this Bollinger Band is just going to expand so fast and it's just going to ride it all the way down. So, 4 hour is a good one to look at, but the weekly is so much more important. You guys got to keep your eye on that. If you guys got the balls to trade, I think it's a good time to buy. All right? You might get a little swing trade, but to me, it's not worth it. Not worth it at all. Because the coronavirus was the cherry on top. The snowball effect was started by the coronavirus. Yeah, any sort of little news can get bandwagoned so quickly, and the next thing you know, it tanks. Now let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia pretty much leads the market, guys. SMH is pretty much mostly Intel, Nvidia, MU, a lot of the big names. If Nvidia cracks these technicals, then AMD, it's just going to drag AMD down. Nvidia actually did worse than AMD today at 4%, whereas AMD was at 3%. Because they're correlating, we can assume that Nvidia has more to go on the 4 hour, and that could drag AMD down. It's really hard to trust AMD on their technicals. That's what I had a lot of issues with in the past. AMD technicals are one of the most trickiest technicals to play with. I mean, it's like it fakes you out, and then some of them tell the truth. Now, ACB, guys, I said the triple bottom, right? Now, it could play two different types of triple bottoms. Now, I drew the resistance line over here. You see how it goes down because of the downtrend. It could go as low as $1.30 is what it looks like. But if we put the crosshair at the low of the day or the close, you can see that it is exactly at $1.50, and that was the bottom over here. So literally it did a double bottom because this is considered to be a double bottom still. You can get a gap down and then it consolidates for a little bit before you get some news, and then boom, it pops up. Now, this could also be considered a triple bottom, but that doesn't mean there can't have any consolidation. We do have the dip here, and then we are currently in that second dip over here, which is going to propel us forward. Now, when I see these type of MACDs, I like it. You know, it's consolidating. It could deflect and reverse on any given, market action. If it's a green day tomorrow, it could do that. The RSI has pulled back. The possibilities of a green day just because of this RSI pullback are higher for the upcoming days. Oh, this wasn't even updated. It is not $1.67. It tested like real low, 143. It might go even lower. I'm thinking that Wall Street knows a lot of new investors are in Canvas, so they're going to push it as low as possible. They're going to scare as many noobs out as freaking possible because that's what happens, The noobs, they see the red and they get freaked out. They think about everything that they could buy, what they could have done with the money, like how they screwed up. They could have bought a house or something. But a real investor, they shouldn't be phased by being in the red. People just freak themselves out and they're like, oh my God, it's going to go bankrupt. Next thing you know, it's $6, $2. Remember NEO when they were $1.19? Look at them now. They're well over $4 and doing well. So there can be the same story for ACB. Now, CGC was one of the reasons I got into ACB initially because I knew that CGC leads the market and it's still leading the market. All right. They are a behemoth in the sector because of their cash infusion. Just because of the valuation, they have so much power because they are sitting on cash, and it actually trades like a normal stock, as you can see in the technicals. This inverse head and shoulder is still holding up, and it's just looking like, should I say sexy? Because freaking, it's just too perfect. What did I say about the consolidation here? There's so much down pressure and short attacks, and they've lost so much valuation. Of course, it was going to test the support or the resistance and then go to the support again. Look, things are playing out exactly like I said. It is time to buy CGC, even though ACB looks sketchy and we don't know if it's a double bottom or a triple bottom. We can look to CGC and see how I've predicted that it would go up and then down, and that it wasn't finished completing the shoulder right here, and it still had ways to go to complete the right shoulder. This can be compared to ACB and how this can be a double bottom. This is the first bottom, very narrow and sharp, and then the second bottom is drawn out and long in duration and waiting for fundamental news to take it upwards. So CGC, since I believe it runs and trades like a normal stock and the manipulation is far better than ACB's because they're getting short attacks left and right, way more than CGC. And because of that, it trades normally, so we can trust this technical analysis, all right? And if CGC ramps up, It's going to be great for the whole sectors. Ramps up from $19. This is like the perfect buying opportunity. You see all these lines? It's just playing out too perfectly. But let's not get too zealous because remember what happened to Neo when I was saying that the Head and Shoulders was looking perfect. We're going to look at Neo in a second. But yeah, when it gets too perfect, sometimes I don't know if anyone does this, but do you guys do the technicals and you think it's going to go up, but you know the stock market is the stock market, and then you just bet that it's going to go down instead, even though you think it's going up? Yo, who trades like that? I'm thinking about applying that to my trading strategy. Like, sometimes when things are just way too perfect, you just bet the opposite direction. In a perfect technical world, this is looking very bullish to me, all right? And because CGC is bullish, I'm bullish on ACB, and I'm bullish on the whole weed sector. And we can look at Cron, how it's consolidating. It's pretty much bottomed out. Look at that. It's bottomed out, guys, and it's touching the bottom Bollinger Band. It's just ready to ramp up. The odds, the possibilities, the statistics are on the bull's side. The MACD has crossed over. Guys, this congruency is not a coincidence throughout the whole sector. Why are the MACDs crossing over everywhere? Why are all the companies consolidating and about to cross the moving average and the Bollinger Band means and then ramp up? Aphria doing a double bottom over here. 1, 2, and look, there's patterns to this. 1 dip, 2 dip, ramp up. 1 dip, 2 dip, ramp up. 1 dip, 2 dip. I think it's about to ramp up, guys. It's been cruising the downward MACD. It's just ready to go up. And if you measure the distance between these little segments, they're all about the same size. It's about an inch. So this is like, I don't know, it's just a little easy to call. We are calling that Aphria is going up this week. All right, guys, let's see if I'm right. I'm a little scarred from Neo, but we can talk about Neo. And before we go in depth about Neo, I just have to say that I've always been a bull for Neo. I've made over $100,000 in Neo, and I sold at $4.45. If we want to get technical, I'm technically still right. Even though after hours is $4.49, I'm still above the close today at $4.40, even with the $1.42 billion cash infusion news. And then some people were saying that I shorted the stock. Yeah, I know I trolled StockTwits. I was like, I opened a $500,000 short position. Bearish sign. But, like, it's StockTwits. I'm just, like, bored. You know, you guys understand, right? So, I don't have a short position. All right. I never short stocks. I'm not that good. To be a short seller, you got to be a freaking pro. Like, the movement of the short side is just, I do better on the bull side. All right, I do very well on the bull side. But yeah, guys, it looks like the MACD is about to ramp up, especially with the news that just came out, like $1.42 billion. I made in my last video saying that it's like a 40% increase, guys, from the rumor. The rumor. The rumor was 1 billion, but it turned out to be Chinese money, and it's only 100 million USD. So that's nothing. 14 times the funding now, all right? And get this. They're not just getting money, they're making a new headquarters. They're getting manufacturing facilities. They're getting hooked up. Some of these people, they're calling it what? A government bailout? Yeah, Bernstein called it a government bailout, and to be honest, it pretty much is. But what happened to GMC and some of the other companies that went bankrupt and got bailed out by the government? Lots of upside. So in comparison, Neo is actually at all-time low prices. We can confidently say that if we want to compare the scenarios, China versus United States, like they basically got bailed out. Now, if we look further at the news, soars 11% on new funding. And as I've been binge watching coronavirus news, I actually really enjoy watching coronavirus news, by the way. I just like to keep up to date. There's actually 2,700 deaths now. And let's multiply that by three. There's like 10,000 people that are dead. All right, guys. It's pretty serious. And that's why I was bare on Neo. That's why I called 119. If they didn't get funding and the coronavirus was this bad and it's going to get worse, it would have been 119, all right? But they got the funding. But don't get too excited. They got to talk about it in 2 months, all right, guys? And if it doesn't go through, this thing is tanking, and I'm going to get a freaking great entry point. The coronavirus news, I have come to the conclusion that you do not want to mess with the Chinese government, the CCP. Hefei is part of that, all right? The consensus is that China operates like thugs, like gangsters, like a mob. They are going to inject so much elbow grease into Neo that the success of Neo is without a doubt going to happen. That being said, $1.42 billion in addition to China's CCP power, they really are running like a slave show, guys. The citizens are working for nothing, the government's making all the money, and literally they tell them that, hey, you have to sacrifice your life for the future of China. I just don't trust China anymore. I'm sure Neo's a great company, but the government, you don't want to mess with the Chinese government. All right, so it's very bullish right now. They got the funding, they got the government behind them. I would say buy the dips, all right? It's still in a volatile area, and there's going to be short attacks, and there's going to be more coronavirus news. So I would definitely just buy the dips. And, this is a long hold, guys. If you guys want to multiply your money, you got to hold these very low prices. And the best way to do that, to get the lowest prices, is to buy on a dip. That's like a minus 5% day, a negative 10% day. The odds that you're getting a great price on that certain day when it dips are very high. Now, if it dips further, you buy more, and that dip on that day is the best you could do. So you're constantly doing the best you can do and accumulating shares. And once you have the loaded position that you're looking for, you can let it ride, and it's going to multiply to a lot of money. Now this one, Chinese EV maker Neo in talks with Hefei on funding, and they're getting plants. The only thing that was important in this is that 1 year ago they talked to E-Town International Investment, how they're going to invest the same amount that they got recently, but there hasn't been any further announcements. With the bullish sentiment, with the government backing Neo, with the funding, and then if they get even more funding, the same amount, 2 times the funding, this thing is going to explode, all right? Whether with or without the coronavirus, it's just going to defy all stock physics and just explode, all right? Because that's what Wall Street wants. They see CGC with the cash infusion. They're like, oh yeah, we like this, this is good. That's why it's not $5, it's just like without the cash, they would be a much lower price. But if we look back at this article, electric car sales have fallen for the 7th consecutive month. So what does this mean? Does the streak continue? I don't know. 7 months is a long time where it's falling. Maybe it's time to reverse. Maybe the 8th month is when it's going to be positive. But let's be realistic here. The trend is very hard to reverse. 7th consecutive month, I think the 8th month is very likely, all right? So we can see some shortages, some opportunities, some dips, all right? We have the bull case. The odds are on the Bulls side now, but this will provide an opportunity if the eighth and ninth month are bad. And the coronavirus, it's just not helping. They're quarantining like half the country. All right, things that are supposed to be delivered and distributed, and teams and synergy that's supposed to be working together, it's not functioning how it's supposed to be. All right, things are behind, and the sales are going to be lower. It's just going to provide a buying opportunity, and hopefully I got some cash at that point. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much what I have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I want to know what y'all think about what I've said. Just, restate what I said and then tell your opinion. Leave a comment, anything, feedback, whatever. Thank you for liking the video. It helps my channel grow a lot faster, gets me more exposure. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. I will see you next video. Peace.